Hello and welcome back. So we have a graph creator here, graph generator. Actually, we don't need total this value here. It's not used anywhere at all. Yep, it isn't. So let's delete that total y lines. Okay. So we have this graph generator here that we need to save as a class. Okay, so that's the graph we have for now, but let's save this as a class so we can just call it when we want to create a graph. So we'll go to models here and let's create a new model. So I'm just going to copy the user model. Actually, let's just create this from scratch, right? New file in models, and I'm just going to put some PHP tags. And let me save this. I'll save this as graph, capital G .php, right? Okay. Then I'm going to write class graph creator. Okay, so this graph doesn't extend, this class doesn't extend anything. This is class graph. Okay, we don't need a constructor. Okay, it depends how you want to do things. But maybe we can just use the constructor, right? The constructor runs immediately you call the function. So here it means we have to give it the parameters or the data. So let's put some data there that we're going to use down here. Okay. Now, if you want to set some parameters, let's say, for example, you want to change the resolution of canvas, you can put those values at the top here so that they are changeable. So I'll copy this, but we'll put some default values, of course. So I'm going to put them as public because we want them to be changeable from the outside. So public canvas y is equal to that, public canvas x, like that. Okay, so that they are changeable from the outside. So what other things? Any things that you want to be able to change? For example, font size. We have a font size of oopsie. Let me duplicate that. Font underscore size is currently 12. Oh, is it? It's 16. Okay. Let's come back here. We don't need this. Let's come back here. What else do we need? Maybe you want to be able to adjust the extra space on the Y and the X. You can also add this to the top there. So pretty much anything that you want to be able to adjust, you can add it there. And then the data will be saved here instead. It will be sent here when we instantiate this class. But if you want to be able to change these things, because once you make an instance here, things should already be set by then. So this wouldn't work very well. So what we do instead is we create a function instead of using the constructor. Let's just say display. So let's make a function called display so that we can just explicitly call this function when we want to display the thing after setting our values. Okay, so after we've done all that, we are good to go. So all we need to do now is copy everything that is in here from the top to the bottom. That includes the SVG. Actually, let's cut that. Oopsie, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, it's because I opened the PHP tag without closing it there. Okay, so save that and let's paste this in here. So let me shift, oops, let me do that. No, I think things are okay like this. Maybe I would want to move everything over just a touch. Okay, so now that we want these values to be editable, we get them from there. So I'm going to say this here. That's how you point to values that are here. So this canvas X, that's not one there. And what else? The data will come from there. So we can delete this whole data here. Now we don't want errors because in case the data is not an array, we need to check that. So what we can do is we say if not is array data, then we can echo something. Data variable must be an array, so that we don't cause problems. Then we return. That way we exit the function. Okay, so if it's not an array, we do that to protect ourselves. And then here, everything else remains the same. Whatever thing we want to change here, we put it there, like the font size, for example. So I'll copy down here. Where is the font size? So font size is somewhere here, for example. So instead of letting the 16 pixel stay here, let's copy every instance of that. We're going to put PHP tags and echo font size like that. Close that, then put px there. Okay, but then we need to put this here because it comes from that top there. All right, very good. That's about it actually. So how do we use our new class now? So this is good because now you can, in any project that you want to do, you can simply get this class and put it there and use it to display a graph. Okay, so how do we display this graph? Because right now, if I go back and refresh, the graph isn't there anymore. So all I need to do is do this. Let me put a PHP tag here. And I'm going to say graph, or you can use any variable name, is equal to new graph, like that. Okay, and then all I need to do now is say graph display. But in order for it to display, I need to give it some data. So let's put data there, but we don't have data as anything. It's empty right now. So data is equal to empty array, like this. So let's see what happens when we have an empty array. Okay. So we have a parse syntax error in graph 132. We haven't unclosed bracket. So let's go there. Which bracket is unclosed? 132. So right at the end, it's saying we have a bracket that's not closed. Okay, so where did we open a bracket that we didn't close? I need to see that. Boom. That one there. This one here goes there. I don't know. Where is the unclosed bracket? Okay, so that's the class, that's the function. So those two are okay. Anyway, let me duplicate that. Let's see if it works at all. No. Unclosed on line 14. Oh, okay. So it says on line 14. Where's line 14? Here. Public function display data. What's going on? You know, this is a very common problem where you can't figure out where you opened the bracket and didn't close it. So you have to go line by line here. Check every single bracket that isn't closed. This one is closed here. This one is closed. All right, so I'm getting worried here because, or am I getting blind? What's going on? Maybe I'm getting tired. Okay, let me remove this line here. Okay, we still get this error because we are still instantiating that class. Just to make sure, okay, so the problem is definitely in that graph.php. Public function. Okay, no mistake there whatsoever. Okay, so it could be in a variable instead. So let me look at these variables that I echoed here. Okay, this looks fine. It's closed. There's closed value there. Ooh, okay. Okay, one more thing I can do is just to see how many open brackets are there. So let me just select that and Control D to select all of them. There are 9. Okay. So since those are 9 open ones, let's do another one of these, and those are 9 matches. So there's an equal amount of open and closed brackets. So where is the problem? Now, in a situation like this, the problem with this error is that it can't really tell you which line has a problem for real, because it will match the brackets in the wrong way and conclude that the missing one is at the end here. But what we can do is let's delete segments slowly. So I'm going to delete this whole SVG segment up to here, and then let me save. Okay, just want to see if there's no problem here so far. So the problem still exists here, so which means it's not in the SVG part. So that's some good news. Then I can go and delete this part right here. Oh, so that's the reason why it's failing. It's because of this closing. Oh my god, I don't know why I didn't see that. So this closes the PHP but doesn't open it again, does it? No, it doesn't. So right above the SVG down here, we should open the PHP tags. All right, that should solve the problem. Yay! So there's a fatal error. Max argument 1 must contain at least one element. Okay, so that's a value you get. That's the error you get when you don't supply any data whatsoever. So where is this error here? The error is on line 26. So let's go here. Data variable must be an array and contain data. So we'll say if is array data and not empty. So if is not an array or is empty data, then we give an error. Okay, at least there we've protected ourselves. Now all we need to do is add some data to this. So let's add some data, shall we? So here I'm just going to say January, February, and let's give those values. So I'll put 100 here, and then I'll put 50 there. Let's do March, and then let's put maybe 180, something above 100, maybe 150. So let's refresh. Okay, so we have errors. So variable canvas y, undefined variable, which means it doesn't know what canvas y is. So on line 29. So the reason here is because we removed those variables here and we set them to this. See? So instead of doing this, canvas x is equal to that. The values are already set here. So what we'll do is we'll do this instead. Copy that. Let's create a variable called canvas x, which was already there, and let's do this so that we set them to whatever values are here instead. So I'll remove that. This is what I should have done in the first place, like that. Okay, so that should solve the problem. And there we go. So we have a graph like that. Now we can forget about this graph class altogether and just pump in a graph whenever we feel like. So for example, if I want to just do a loop, what I can do is I can just say for, just make a loop here. I just want to add some random data. So I'll put 100 points, so maybe that's too much, maybe 20 points. And then in here I'll say data I is equal to, let's create a random number from 0 to maybe 1000. Let's see how well that works. Okay, so I've created an array using a loop, and there we go. So you see we have a graph now with all these numbers down here, and it seems to be working just fine. If I refresh, you see the graph it changes to suit the data that we've created. So seems pretty solid. Maybe let's try 50 data points. Let's see how well that serves. Look at that. So at some point it becomes weird here. So yeah, you can put if statements to remove some values if they get too close or if there are too many. All that can be done to enhance your graph, but for the basic stuff that we need, I think it's good enough. Let's put that 30 data points, because at least in a month we can have 30 items like so. So 30 data points is realistic. Let's put 31. Let's see there. Okay, there we go. So this is a realistic graph because we can put a graph for day 1 up to 30. Okay, very cool. Alrighty then, so we've converted our graph into a class that we can call at any time. So the beauty of this is I can do this right now, and then I can duplicate this. Since we've already created a new graph like that, we can simply go ahead and display it again by just duplicating those lines like so. And then now we have two graphs, right? And then with that in mind, we can put different data. So I can empty that data thing before I display it again, and then give it a different data set, maybe 12 this time. So let's do that. As you can see, we have two graphs now. So it becomes easy to add more and more graphs as you wish, just by duplicating some more and adding different data sets, and then see, you have graphs that are showing you stuff. Okay, very cool. So now let's see how we can get data from the database and use that in our graphs instead. Oh, but before I go, keep in mind that these values are changeable, like the canvas Y, right? So I can always edit this. Let me delete this so that we only have one graph. You can see what I'm talking about. So the numbers are squeezed here, but if I want, before I display the data, I can change some of these params, like canvas Y, right? I can set it to a different value, maybe 600 instead of 400. I can set it to 600, then display the value. So in this case, you see the graph grows bigger down here and gives more space for the numbers. So because of that resolution change, you can always edit the X as well instead of 1000 it becomes 600 as well, so it becomes a square like this. Look at that. So boom, boom, boom. So you can edit the resolution as you wish. Let's try a even smaller resolution. I don't know how this will work. Yeah, not so good, but because there's less space and number of pixels there. So if you want a bigger resolution, let's try 1200. There we go. Look at that. Okay. If you want the defaults, just delete these and it will go back to the default values. There we go. Very nice, very nice. And then in here, because we have a 75% width, we can always just put this at 100% instead. Also, if you want, you can put a variable here for styles. So you can say styles is equal to, and then you put an empty styles. Then you can add it to the end here. For example, let me just do that real quick. And then you can say styles is equal to, and then just put an empty string like that. And then here at the very end, we can just say styles. I can echo this, put a semicolon there. So you can override that style. That's why I'm putting it at the end. So I'll do this and say this styles, like so. That will echo the styles there. So whatever styles I add at the top here will determine how things work. So like this here, we have nothing, and if I refresh, you see this is what I get, right? But if I want to change the styles to something else, like, oops, what have I done? I wanted to duplicate this line. So I'll say styles and then say is equal to, then I can add whatever styles I want here, which will override those that exist. So for example, I can say width is equal to 10%, like that, okay? And once I do that, and this is what the graph looks like now. So you can add any styles that you want here, and they will update on the SVG file itself. So this is how you can make this very, what's the word? Multi-purpose graph creator. Then you can improve it over time, and it just becomes your personal graph creator that you can use in any project that a client may want you to use.